also, you know, people not being as connected with each other over the pandemic. As an actor, how do you think that you've been over the past year as far as learning more about yourself and also, you know, learning about the business too? Because, you know, there were times where, you know, no one was working and you had to figure out when to go back to work. Work looked different because of COVID. So as an actor, how was that experience like for you?
Well, I actually lost the film during the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, I had booked the film the day before we went on lockdown. So
Wow.
like actual lockdown. I remember it was a state of emergency, and then I remember it was like 2 days in between then, and I remember going to a casting office and like it was no actors in there. It was Nancy Nayer's casting office. It was no actors in there. And they were like, yeah, we're not seeing any actors because of COVID. Just like one or two actors at a time. I was like, whoa, this is weird. Because usually her rooms are like packed with people. I remember reading, they liked it, they booked me. And then next day we went into lockdown. And then for months, Sony would never give an answer about like when they were going to start back productions. And just eventually, we never got into negotiations, but they said that I had booked it. They never sent the deal over because the pandemic started and it was just like everything went on hold, and then the movie just never happened. And for sure, I've lost a movie in the past because I was on a TV show that wouldn't let me do a film. So I've always had like this, I've been traumatized since then. That was probably one of the worst feelings because I was super excited about booking that. And this time it didn't hit me too hard, maybe because we didn't do negotiations, but it was still like, man, this is crazy. And then we went so long without working, and I think knowing that we all were going through something similar was kind of like, okay, it's more than just like me not be able to, oh no, I can't do this cool acting job because of this serious pandemic. And it was more so me thinking like, man, there's people really losing everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was still able to be in my spot playing video games, just chilling until I get a phone call or until, you know, we get the virus in order. So for me, I was just like, man, let me not complain. It could be way worse. But I definitely was thinking like, I wonder what's going to be like, how are we going to get back to, I still was thinking like, how are we going to get back to working? What is the future hold? But yeah.
And I want to talk about one of the roles you gained a lot of attention for early on, which was your role in the New Edition story. You know, people still love that that miniseries so much. People call it like one of the best things BET ever done. And even to this day, like there's still like this cult-like following of people who watch that every time it comes on BET on Saturday or Sunday. So how do you think that being a part of that kind of changed or you know, impacted the trajectory of your career right now?
I think really it just put more eyes on me, you know. Honestly, it put like, you know, people were able to see who I was and know me for Keith, you know. And I think in the past, you know, I was in Strata Compton briefly, playing Dr. Dre's little brother, and before that, as social media started picking up, I remember just people would kind of share my photos over like Tumblr and stuff like that. So they kind of knew of me, but like I think being on New Edition was just like them being, okay, we know him. That's Keith Powers. He's an actor, and you know, it just put more eyes on me, and that's what I was most appreciative because a lot of people watched it when it dropped. So and it was a good ensemble, and me really. I'm always the type of dude, I love ensemble casts. I love ensembles. Like I know a lot of actors, I mean, not a lot of actors, some actors don't really like ensembles because they really want, you know, to focus on a certain storyline, play a character where their storyline is being the focal point. But me, I'm just like, being a part of that, I just wanted to do my part, and people really, you know, reacted and loved me playing Ronnie. And I was surprised. I was like, man, because I was stressed out when I first booked that because I don't dance. I never did choreography. I had to learn choreography in a week. So I was really stressed out with that one, but people really show love. And I think it's always good as an actor because at the same time, we are also entertainers. So when people, you know, when they recognize us for our work, it's just good moving forward because you come with like, you know, a little fan base that could support you.
Yeah. And speaking of a fan base, like, you know, over the past several years, you've gained a lot of popularity, like role after role after role. How do you think you've been able to, you know, cope with fame and being in the public eye more and more as the years go on?
To be real with you, man, I got like that, I call it struggle fame. it's like this joke I have with myself. It's really like struggle fame to me. Like I just shared like a story on Twitter when I was in line getting the vaccine, and it was a long line, and I sent a picture to my group chat, and I was like, yo, y'all, look at this line. Like, this is crazy. And they were like, bro, you don't use your celebrity enough. Just cut the line. And I was like, bro, what are you talking about? If I cut the line, they're gonna look at me like, get to the back of the line. Then I might lose my place.
They're gonna know it's you too at that point.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and even if they did know me, it's not to the point where it's like, oh yeah, no, he has to get in the front and get his shot now. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And I was laughing about it because I'm on that fence thing. Like in some places people show crazy love and they come up to me, but it's never felt like the point where it was like it was unbearable. To me, it's just cool. People recognize you for your work. They show love, like, and then go on with their day. And we can run into each other again, and they just like, nice to see you again. Like, and I love that. I think it's super cool. It's like if you could be recognized for your job and people show love and people tell you how it inspired them, I love it. It's been some times, I'm not gonna lie, where I get like super shy or embarrassed or I don't know, in this weird way, but you know, that's just me being too observant. Because it's just like when somebody's asking me for a picture, I'm kind of looking out the side of my eye like, okay, like this is kind of weird. Because, you know, a lot of people don't know who I am. So they're looking like, who is he?
Yeah.
And they'll literally
like, who's this person people are taking pictures of?
Exactly. And they'll literally come up and be like, wait, what do you do? Who are you? And then in my head, I'm like, well, if you got to ask, I'm not really that famous. Yeah. I still got some work to do. But I mean, it has an impact in my life negatively. But, you know, I've always tried to like, my goal is to model myself behind, you know, the great Muhammad Ali. I always like how Muhammad Ali was like the people's champ. You know, I felt like Muhammad never had to walk around with security or nothing because people just loved him for who he was. He stood for something, and he was super down to earth and just real and great at what he did, you know, and he was super confident. But more so than anything, people follow him because of his humility, I think, overall, and him speaking his mind. And that's how I kind of want to be. I'm like, if I get to the point where I can't control it, you know, it is what it is. But ultimately, I want to be able to still live my life, walk around freely. You know, people would come up to me and I'm like, oh, appreciate that. And just keep it pushing rather than, you know, there's some people that literally can't go anywhere by themselves. They got to be in like an SUV, got to have a point person step out the car, grab something for them. I don't want to do that. Like if I want to walk in the store and get a shirt, I want to get it myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's just me. That's how fame's been for me. I call it the struggle fame, but I love it. I really, it's a good place to be, honestly.
I feel like it's also a weird mix too, because I mean, you still can be like, you know, noticeable, but it's still like also be yourself. You know, you don't have to like be necessarily two different people too. So I feel like the struggle fame is a weird thing.
No, it's the weirdest mix. And I think what happens is some celebrities feel embarrassed by it sometimes because they feel like, oh, I got to this point in my career, everyone should know me. And if they don't know me, then maybe like something is wrong, but it's like nobody ever talks about that point of being you know, in the public eye where it's like some people may know you and some people may not. And it is what it is. I don't know.